2021 was a banner year for the housing market in Metro Chicago. Realtors sold more homes than ever while prices rose at rates not seen since the housing boom of the early 2000s. And fueling that demand was a combination of low interest rates and folks looking to make pandemic-inspired moves to larger homes, as remote working became the norm for many. Joining us to share their insights for 2022 are Dennis Rodkin, residential real estate reporter for Crain's Chicago Business, and Gwendolyn Newton, a real estate agent and president of the Dearborn Realtist Board, an African-American real estate trade association. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Dennis, welcome back. Let's start with you, please.
Thanks.
Why was 2021 such a frenzied year for the Chicago real estate market?
Because everybody wanted to move to a different home. If I had to work at home, have my kids in a schoolroom at home, work out at home, it was very likely that I didn't have that kind of space in the place I was already living. And with very low interest rates, I could, in most cases, I could afford to make that move. So we finished 2021 with more home sales in the Chicago area than there have ever been. In December, we passed 2005, which was the height of the last housing boom. We passed the sales volume record from that year because anybody who could trade houses did.
And Gwendolyn, was 2021 just as good a year for purchasing a home for Black buyers, purchasers?
Hi, and thank you so much for having me on this evening. The Black buyer experience was a little bit different. We did experience what I call the pandemic pandemonium, where you just had a frenzy of buyers out there, but there still were some struggles in the areas for buyers being pre-approved for loans. FHA versus conventional, coming up with down payment, et cetera. And then with appraisal issues, there were always several different hurdles and factors that Black buyers had to overcome.
Yeah, and there's been some reporting as well about Black sellers and some of the challenges that they've had with appraisals when selling their own home. Dennis, the median sale price for a home in the Chicago metro area, it rose about 12% in 2021, up to $300,000. Can the market maintain that kind of pace in 2022?
It probably can, because while we've had double-digit price growth, we've been growing in the, as you say, in the 12% range. Think of Phoenix. They've been growing in the 32% price range. A year ago, today, homes cost 32% more in Phoenix than they did a year ago. Those places are in a bubble. Phoenix, San Francisco, Seattle. We're growing our prices are growing at a very rapid rate, but compared to most other big cities, it's not so big. There's a study out that shows that Chicago is one of the only major U.S. cities where home prices have not risen as fast as wages, which is to say you can actually afford more house than you could previously, while affordability is running away from people in other cities where home prices are growing faster than wages.
And real quick, before we move on, Dennis, you hear housing boom and, comparisons to 2005, and people get nervous because we all know what happened after that housing boom in the mid-2000s. Are we in any danger here?
Well, once again, we're not growing as fast as we were. Our prices aren't growing quite as fast as they were at that time. But also, most of this is appraising out. A lot of it in 2005 there were the low or no document loans. There was predatory lending in Black communities and elsewhere that were sort of forcing lending onto people who probably couldn't afford it. There are a whole lot of rules in place for lending that didn't exist then, that actually came into being because of those problems. And we're not seeing yet the foreclosure crisis coming the way it did the last time, because it appears that people are buying on the income they have, not on undocumented income, low document or no document loans.
Okay. Gwendolyn, historically, African Americans have been denied access to the housing market and those opportunities to build wealth because of unequal access to financing and, of course, some other discriminatory practices. What would you say the situation is like today for, say, a young African American couple looking to buy their first house?
Well, a couple things, and if I can just kind of touch on, Dennis mentioned in terms of, the foreclosure crisis. There are some levels of risk And based on some of the reporting that I have read over the last, like, say, 60 days, there is some increase and uptick in the foreclosure space for Black home owners. That is not to discourage young millennials and people out buying in this space at this time. I believe that, you know, with the lower interest rates, there is an opportunity to take advantage of purchasing a home at this point. But because of the lack of wealth and the disparity between African American households and white households in economic and financial wealth, that oftentimes African Americans don't have the down payment resources. So there are some, you know, some loan programs out there that do allow, you know, down payment assistance. And you can also accept gifts from, you know, family members, which has enabled Blacks, African Americans to purchase. But again, you know, when there is a lack of financial stability, bank accounts.
Not as easy for them to. Gwendolyn,
Yeah,
I wanted to get you on this really quickly. You know, of course, we've seen in recent years Blacks moving out of the city, but also folks have moved out of the city because of the pandemic. Do you think these two trends will continue with people leaving the city? Gwendolyn, that's to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
Okay.
had said Dennis. Yes, by all means. I have been working with buyers that have been relocating to the suburbs where, you know, where crime or, just living in close quarters, condominiums, apartment lifestyles where people want to have single family homes. And, you know, backyard space has been a large uptick for during the pandemic. I've also had quite a few people relocate out of state. They have just kind of washed their hands of Chicago and they've moved down south to, you know, Georgia, Florida, and then some, you know, to Arizona.
And surely they've got their reasons for that. Dennis, what are some of the factors that could slow this market down?
Crime. So one of the things I track is the very high end part of the market. I look at all the market, but up at the top of the market, $4 million and up, we had an amazing year in 2021. The average number of sales in a year at $4 million and up is 51.5. In 2021, there were 100 sales at that level, from 4 million to the highest price sale of the year came right around Christmas time at $12.55 million. So of that, 37 sales were downtown condos, downtown penthouses, really, when you're talking $4 million and up. People are still investing. People of means, affluent people are still investing in real estate downtown,
But
even though
obviously,
what you hear is that crime is stopping people now that there is a very obvious crime problem in the downtown neighborhoods, that it's stopping people from buying. The
and
numbers
Dennis, we're
I
fresh
have
out of
say-
time. I'm sure there's plenty of factors at work here, but we'll have to leave it there. My thanks to Dennis
sorry.
Rodkin and Gwendolyn Newton for joining us.
Thank you.